Philadelphia. I had so much to talk to you about anyway, and here comes Howie season in the middle of a Sunday after a really boring Browns preseason game. This is the Watching the Birds podcast and social club. I'm John Barchard, and we can officially welcome to the club John Metchie. Welcome on in, sir. It's a pleasure to have you, first and foremost, because I loved you in college. I thought you were brilliant. I am so sorry about how your NFL career unfortunately had to get started. You have battled some injuries. The Texans aren't sure what to do with you, even though I think you are a perfect model of the slot, can play the X, can play the Y, inside, outside, multi-use wide receiver. You were phenomenal with Nick Saban. I know you didn't play with Jalen Hurts, but I just feel like you would fit in perfectly because if Devontae loves you, then I love you. All their pets' heads are falling off. Now, I love this. Just on the surface, trading Harrison Bryant, who is the shortest tenured, I'm pretty sure about that, the shortest tenured Eagles tight end ever, who actually, got signed in the offseason and looked like he was going to have a role here. Texans get a 5th-round pick. The Eagles get their 6th-round pick. They do a swap of those, and that was part of the CJ-GJ trade, so they both get their original picks back, and I don't know what it means overall for the future of this Eagles wide receiver room. It is just fucking stacked at the moment. And I would be just as shocked as you if they started to even think or tinker about a Dotson trade, unless there's just something out there that we don't understand. And the only thing that I would understand at this point, packaging like him and Ringo or him and Adoree Jackson and sending him elsewhere, but it'd be really late in the season to go get another CB2 at this point. So I don't really know if they're just kind of tightening this up, because after yesterday, I was ready to crown Anaya Smith the winner of congratulations, you're going to be the 6th wide receiver on this team and you're going to be doing most of the punt returns, or see something amazing where, Darius Cooper ends up on that end too, because they were really working him hard at special teams the last couple of weeks, and then this just fattens that room up, Both him and Dotson are going to be on expiring contracts. So, of course, your head and mind is going to at least think that. Maybe you think this is just part of A.J. Brown's recovery with his hamstring because he's been in and out, and I think those are all valid theories, at least just kind of in which direction you think this is going to go. This is mostly some normal Howie Roseman, late August, mid-August kind of tinkering to just round everything out, Do I expect John Metchie to suddenly have a role and take over, the final 2 preseason games? I guess. Am I really going to expect him to be a working body as long as AJ and Devontae are healthy? No, because Jahad Dotson doesn't even get the ball, or at least struggled to get the ball. So would Dallas Goedert. It's just like that third option is just tough to get to, especially when you have Saquon Barkley here. And Jalen's legs, which again, just as a reminder, can indeed squat 600 pounds, and the NFL fucking hates it. But if you and I end up waking up on like Tuesday morning and Jahad Dotson is now, I don't know, a Jet or something, my first instinct was, yeah, there is always a possibility that Dotson could be traded. I've been thinking of that since March. Maybe I'm the only one that believes this, but John Metchie could absolutely take over Jahad Dotson's role, like in a heartbeat. And to me, Howie Roseman is just always obsessed with, if you are thinking in the A.J. Brown, his hamstring is a little fucked up, that's a long-term thing to think about for the rest of the year. So when you're looking at your wide receivers and going, can I trust these kids to go win a couple of regular season games? Yes. Could I put Anaya Smith in there? Yes. If I'm down A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, what really happens to Jalen Hurts? It gets miserable in the passing game, and we've seen that already. We've seen what happens when A.J. is not here. We've seen what happens when Devontae isn't there, and we've also seen when both of them are on the field and they're both getting bracketed or having a hard time, and there's just not really anybody there for whatever reason. It could be Jalen, it could be Nick, it could be that, people are running shitty routes in the middle of the field and that you had a 6'7" fucking guard. But when you start thinking that way and going like, all right, if A.J. Brown's hamstring could linger the entire season, do I want somebody who's 24 years old that was Devontae Smith's teammate, probably vouch for the rest of these guys? Yes. And a guy that could play inside or outside? Yes. And have Jahad Dotson decide which he would prefer out of that? Yes. Because now you have veteran guys that have been through this league that have no problem either playing in or out. So if for any reason A.J. Brown goes down, I would assume Jahad Dotson gets bumped to the outside. Or at least you have multiple looks where you have Metchie and Dotson kind of trading their roles if that were to happen. So to me, that's a very big positive. And that's also asking a lot of John Metchie right off the gate, because it's not like he was some humongous superstar, but I do think his development obviously slowed when you're sitting out an entire year in 2023. And yes, this is just Howie Roseman taking a chance. The Texans have a big wide receiver room as well. If anything, this signals bad news for Anaya Smith, probably, who I thought, again, was going to walk into the punt returning job, have Cooper DeJean sit down and all that stuff. But now this makes it ultra competitive for these last 3 or 4 wide receivers. And I would believe at this point that Howie Roseman is also allowing some late trades after the 4th preseason game here as well. You're going to allow these awesome wide receivers that clearly are going to have a hard time making this team, see if they can go make it somewhere else, and one of them or 2 of them or all 3 of them will be on the practice squad, which is a good thing to have. I just think this is Howie Roseman being super obsessive about we're not going to get fucking caught with our pants down in case A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith goes down. If you missed it this week, Howie Roseman went on Bussin' the Boys, and I just knocked over this beautiful microphone. I'm so sorry. He had a very good, candid interview, and I recommend it just for the A.J. Brown story alone. Just so you know, Howie Roseman negotiated A.J. Brown's contract from pick fucking 12 to 18 during that 2021 draft. It was that close to not happening, and he negotiated the contract in 6 fucking picks, which is just outstanding to me. So, in that interview, they got deep into Marcus Mariota. And if you remember from last year, Marcus Mariota was very outspoken about Howie Roseman and the Eagles helping him try to find his way mentally back into this game because Howie and everybody else identified by Chip Kelly science that's still in the building that Marcus Mariota was still running fast, throwing the ball well, measurements were great, but something was wrong with him. And Howie opened the door to say, hey, you should go seek these medical professionals, these therapists, whatever we can do for you, let's make that happen. And Howie went on to say that this approach is a must if you're running an organization like this. How would you not want to get the best out of a player while he's here? And maybe that does propel him to do even better when he signed in free agency. And you're going, wow, that's amazing that was like a launching pad. I would say Mekhi Becton was a humongous emotional example of this last year, coming from the Jets. When you get a guy here like John Metchie, how are you not automatically attracted to that culture and probably wanting to be here in some regard? Yes, Devontae Smith was your teammate. It's a good spot to be. You know Jalen Hurts pretty well, even if you weren't exactly teammates with him, and I don't believe that they were, but it's the same kind of culture that you've been looking for ever since you stepped back into the NFL, and you know that there's a GM here to protect you from all of that bullshit as much as he possibly can. And, I'm not saying like you still got to be your own man here, obviously. You still got to take the steps on your own, but all of these guys that he is trading for, acquiring, ever since Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and all these other different core people have been here, have fit that entire mold. Who is somebody that obviously needs just better opportunity and not working on the ability? And to me, they have nailed down a lot of those players. Now, if you're kind of taking that and setting all this stuff aside, and we can come back to it in a second, but if you're taking that into like the CB2 position where we're all still kind of sitting here and freaking out, it's not as glamorous, right? Like everybody can see that. This is not a camp position battle. What's happening right now is just this is our weakness, and one of these 3 bodies is going to be hopefully better than our decision not to re-sign Isaiah Rodgers, which doesn't look good right now. And it doesn't look good right now for a lot of different reasons. We haven't seen Jahad Campbell. Drew Mukuba, which I found out this weekend, thank you to Mike Quick, prefers Drew over Andrew. So Drew Mukuba and Cooper DeJean on the field at the exact same time. And once that happens, I think a lot of this debate that we are having about CB2, and we'll get way more into it this week as well, because I got tons of thoughts ever since Landon and a bunch of stuff is happening around us. And I know I've been late, so that's on me, but it's with good news at the end of this show, and I'll tell you why. It doesn't look like they're too scared that CB2 is just going to be a huge question mark. Like, I'm almost preparing myself for the same old kind of Eagles slow first quarter starts. The first 4 weeks are going to be a junky, miserable mess because you've got new people, you've had injuries. Landon Dickerson is more than likely not going to start the season. I don't know. Landon, take it easy. I'm just confident that they're going to have a great enough team where that's not going to really matter. And if CB2 becomes such a problem that it's losing them games, then I would expect Howie Roseman to say, all right, screw it, we are making a deadline trade, even though it hardly ever works out. We're going to use one of these comp picks. We're going to use, a third to a fifth to take a swing on something that has just been detrimental to the team. But I don't even think it's ever going to reach that point to you. I do not think between trying to, cover up Jackson and Ringo and everybody else, you're going to do that between Campbell and DeJean and Mukuba. Because here's the one thing that I don't believe everyone looks into with Drew Mukuba. Drew Mukuba played nickel for 3 years before he got moved to safety. strategy. And if you looked at the open practice, you started to see what they meant by putting Cooper DeJean outside. It wasn't like they were going to line him up there and stick him outside and declare, all right, I'm on one of your best wide receivers, let's do this thing. He started in the slot, and at the very last second, he swaps over, and now he's covering Devontae Smith on the outside. Unfortunately for him, Jalen Hurts recognizes this right away and saying, oh, yeah, we're going to smoke the exciting whites here. And did properly because Sidney Brown was already shading way too far as a safety and left him one-on-one, and Devontae caught it for the touchdown. That was one of the highlighted clips that you might have seen from the open practice. So I think they are trying to make Cooper DeJean the ultimate confusing weapon, and that's come out in a lot of different ways over the past couple of weeks. They always want him on the field. Yes. Is he playing safety? Yes. In base formation? Absolutely. And all of this is just me still thinking, hey, guys, I really wouldn't be surprised here if you've got Drew Mukuba and Cooper DeJean swapping a lot. A lot. And that's with me still saying probably most teams that they're going to face against are going to put them in nickel anyway. So I expect a very slow process in Drew Mukuba actually starting. It'll end up being Sidney Brown just out of pure choice. Knows the defense better. Mukuba's behind, and I respect that. But at some point, they are going to make a swap, and hopefully it's just 2 weeks and not like 4. They're going to be very interchangeable. So is Jahad Campbell, and not just as a running off the edge guy, which we've talked about a lot. I think his coverage skills are very, very underrated. And even Jeff McClain, with his podcast this week, almost gave off the impression to me that what they are seeing during training camp, joint practices, and the rest, they are not showing the good stuff. They're just not doing that. They are putting Cooper DeJean everywhere, and it just scratches my curiosity as to what are they doing behind closed doors. If they're already showing you that Cooper DeJean can swap in and out with that nickel slot, who else are they doing that with? What I think is happening is that they are making CB2 a plumber's job, all right? They're not going to put a lot of difficulty on that person. Yes, are they going to stick with him one-on-one? Absolutely. Are they going to tell them that to keep running with them? No, because they will always have safety help with Mukuba, short and flat help and middle range help with DeJean. So you're really asking CB2 to just cover a little bit of field and grass. And that's why I know Adoree Jackson's going to start the year there. We already know that because he's the least liable person out there. Is Ringo more physical, and does he want to tackle? Yes, he does. Absolutely. But Adoree Jackson at least won't kill you with a touchdown as much in what I just described. If you're just asking Adoree Jackson, I want you to cover these 10 yards right here and don't let anybody get across to you. Great. Perfect. Both he and Ringo have makeup speed ability for their fucked up technique at this point, for their mishaps, to go and I think help out their safety. What makes me concerned is putting Adoree Jackson and Sidney Brown and asking them to make smart decisions together. That might be the growing pains of the first couple of weeks, as I was describing there. And yes, Drew Mukuba's pick 6 from Saturday absolutely is making me starting to think this way. That kid is so fucking... I don't care if it was two dumbasses on the same playing field with the tight end and the wide receiver there. They just kind of looked at each other as like, well, there's no way this guy can go. Oh my God, he's got it, and he's running back for a touchdown. Second stringers, third stringers, he belongs there. And he doesn't belong with those guys. He belongs with the ones. It is going to be nothing but magic tricks on that side. Cooper DeJean is going to be the ultimate, where the fuck is that guy lining up? And he, just like Zach Bond last year, of just shooting right into whatever gap 5 seconds before the offense is about to snap the ball, Cooper DeJean's going to be the same thing. You might be seeing fucking Mukuba screaming down and Cooper DeJean pulling back 2 seconds before the snap actually happened. Those things I think could happen all of the time. All of the time. It is window dressing to whoever is on CB2 because Q has been killing it, and he looks like he's going to be even better this year. So yes, trailing the number one wide receiver. I just feel less and less scared about CB2 because Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and the rest. Josh Uche. Holy shit. Yes, dude, if that hits, my God, is this going to look less and less of a problem, because now you're just relying on the rush to get there, and you've got even more pieces to use. Jahad Campbell, Zach Bond, very, very similar in being able to place and shoot wherever you want, and also back up into coverage. So I think we're going to see some serious shit with Vic Fangio. I'm just hoping that CB2 isn't that detrimental part, because then you probably are going to have to say goodbye to one of these wide receivers at some point. All that aside, just to kind of put a bow on this thing, could it be the simplest thing that I've been implying for the last couple of weeks here? They're just preparing to throw a shitload more, and they need a lot of different mixes of guys to be able to execute a lot of this. Maybe it's just me reading the stuff at training camp wrong. but there seems to be a lot of across the middle passes, middle of the field passes, a lot more post corners, more of those intermediate routes that everybody keeps fucking telling Jalen Hurts he can't throw. John Metchie can catch a fucking ball. That's all I know about him. Whatever role that he ends up with, end up going 5 wide, you've got wide receivers to do it. Not saying they'll do it all the time. They're going to run that ball, baby. So that's the other thing we keep hearing from training camp. It's just like the running game somehow got stronger. Great. That Landon injury, man, that makes a huge difference in whether you can run the ball Saquon Barkley's favorite way. So just want to add that in there. There is so many more things that I want to get into, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And I want to give a humongous thank you to the first 28 members of the Watching the Birds Social Club who all got their hats this weekend, and the rest of you in California are going to get those on Tuesday, by the way. But thank you for being so patient and getting this thing started, and I've got amazing news for everybody, including you, because this year, if you come out to one of our tailgates, one of our watch parties, or any event that we are doing, you're going to do so with some Neshaminy Creek Brewing in your hands, baby. Welcome aboard, everybody. Not only are we going to be tasting their beers, but I am going to be giving all of our hat members care packages with their beers in them, along, if you don't know by now, Two Moods is also one of our humongous partnerships this year, and there's a lot more where that's coming from, because I got some... we've been working. Me and Nick have been working really hard on some awesome stuff. So that means Neshaminy Creek Brewing Beer, Vico Orange Crushes, Cam Jurgens Beef Jerky will be in all of your tailgate packages this September. For the locals, that means I'm either going to deliver you or you're going to pick up alcohol from me somewhere in this beautiful Delaware Valley. But right now, we have partnerships with a lot of beer stores, and we're having a lot of great conversations. So if you see your I'd rather be watching the Birds hat anywhere across Pennsylvania as you walk into a shop, there is probably a discount there, and please ask that store what kind of discount the hat gives you. And the mission is not done for the season. We still plan on opening a private tasting room somewhere where if you're coming in or you're a local and just need a place to hang out before the game, we want to have a private tasting room where you can come in, enjoy some food, basically have a tailgate before the tailgate, and then make your way down to the game. Or just hang out and watch. And especially for away games, we're going to be hanging out, podcasting, and enjoying every snap of football. And I want you to be a part of it this season for just $59 a year. That's it. Poker nights, trivia nights. If you're local, we're going to keep doing a lot of that stuff. And if you're not a local, I still need all of your help. Because obviously I'm sending you stuff all year via mail. But if there's something online that we can do as a community, like a game night on there, I'm totally down to figure that out. And the best way to do that is just to jump in our Discord. You better get ready for Tuesday, because me, Tanner McKee, you, and Jalen Hurts are all going to have a sit-down conversation again about the 2QB system if he's too valuable not to be out there for a second preseason game. Thank you so much for listening, guys. I will see you on Tuesday, and go Birds.